Welcome back to our processing tutorials. In this tutorial, we are going to allow the deer to come back, to go out of the screen on the edge of the world and then possibly come back on the same edge. And when he does, he needs to be facing the opposite direction. So the first thing we'll need to do is to make a deer picture for each direction, deer facing left and deer facing right. So what I did was I went into my deer picture and then I went up to tools and I said flip horizontal. So now he's facing right. And then I went file, save as, or duplicate, and I made this one say deer underscore left. And then my other deer, I made a duplicate of that. And I went and flipped him the other way. And then I said deer left. I mean deer right. And then deer 1 was originally facing left. So let me go back and fix him for a second. I'll just close that one off. Alright, so now we have deer facing left and deer facing right that we can use. Okay, so we're going to go to the top and we are going to add p-image for a basic deer, and that'll be evident in 1 minute. And then we also need one p-image deer underscore left and p-image deer underscore right for the left and right facing deer images that we made. Okay, then we're going to need to go down here and load those images. So we're going to say deer underscore left is equal to load image deer underscore left dot png semicolon, and deer underscore right is equal to load image deer underscore right dot png. And then I wanted them a little smaller, so I said, well, I wanted to make sure I knew what size they were, so I said deer underscore left dot resize is 150 by 150 pixels, and deer underscore right dot resize 150 comma 150. And you can do that with any picture. And now what I need to do is, the reason I made the p-image deer generic method up front is that I need to initialize which deer I'm going to be using first. So here's where I say deer is equal to deer right, so underscore RIGHT. And then I'm not going to need, unless you want to have these other deer still in your image, you can save them or you could comment those other deer out. This is my larger, this can be my larger deer, so I'm going to take out deer 1 and leave the 2 in the background for this video. Okay, so again we have our deer left and deer right, and we have our generic deer, so we can set that deer variable to either left or right at the beginning. And since I commented out the first deer, I'm just going to comment out deer 1 there. Okay. So then when we go down to our draw method, So when we get to image, from the last video we had deer 2 here, so we're just going to put our generic deer, because that's the one that's going to be assigned deer left or deer right at any particular moment. So, and then down here where we're wrapping around, this was wraps around, check on edge, and wraps around to other side. If we wanted to go off the screen and come back the same direction, then we also need to say that. So if on edge, go in opposite direction. And then so if position dot x again is greater than the width, we're not going to set it to 0, but we're going to make it go the opposite way. And so we'll say velocity dot x is equal to velocity dot x times -1. And the same thing here, if parentheses position dot x is less than 0, which is the left hand side, then we want to go the opposite direction again. Dot x is equal to velocity dot x times -1, semicolon. And I think I spelled position wrong. Yes, right here. Alright, so let's see if we get the behavior that we're looking for. Oh, I did forget one thing. So we have to then associate which deer, if it's going the opposite direction, then we need the deer facing in that direction. So under here, we want to put, we're really looking for deer facing right, because now it's going in the opposite direction. So we can say, well, let's put this in a couple spaces. And then we're going to say deer, because that's the variable holding our image of deer left or deer right. We'll set that variable to deer underscore left, semicolon. And then when we're down on this conditional, we want to set the deer to be going right. So it's deer is equal to deer underscore right. Let's put these in another space. Gives us a nice white space. All right, so let's see if we get the behavior of what we're looking for. Deer cannot be resolved to variable. So we canceled out deer 1. All right, so there's our larger deer, and he should basically bounce and face the other way. No. All right, let's check our code. All right, so it's just a simple fix then to comment out the 2 lines that we're making it wrap to the other side of the screen so that it uses the other 2 where we want it to go off the screen and then turn around and come back the same way. And if we run it, you can see that we'll get the same, or the desired behavior that we want here. So when it gets to the right hand side of the screen, it goes off the screen and then comes back. And when it gets to the left hand side of the screen, it comes back and goes right, and the deer is facing the correct position. All right, and I would challenge you then to figure out a way where you could randomize this, and at certain times use the wrap around or use the go off the screen and come back the same direction. And there's actually a random number generator and a random class in processing that you can look up how to use in the reference library. All right, see you next time for our next project.